Welcome to episode, I'm going to say 8 or 9, I forget sometimes, of the Outer Voices podcast. Probably 9, I'm an idiot, of the Outer Voices podcast. This is Rakeem.
That's right,
here.
We already know that.
As always, along with JJ.
Hey.
And Holly.
Hi.
And our special guest for the evening, Miss Diamond. Say hello to the crowd, Diamond. Let's give her a round of applause.
All right, about the number of people that'll watch.
Yeah, hey, we're getting there. We're getting more and more people every time, and that's what matters. We're growing here. We're growing slowly but surely.
I brought the crowd.
Yeah, Diamond's bringing the crowd.
We're all going to be internet famous.
Yeah, this is where we hit our stride here. We're about to blow up. We're actually going to have someone join us in later on. She's running a little late, but Miss Catherine from our last episode, which, you know, I got some good reviews from it. People seem to love us talking about sex and dicks and all that stuff. I mean, who doesn't love it?
The most interesting conversation.
Yeah. So, I mean, expect to hear more, get more episodes of that, and in the near future. So we're gonna start off here today. If I'm sure some of our regular listeners, the two of you who are listening regularly, know that we're based currently out of Oxford, Mississippi, home of my alma mater and Holly and Diamond's current school, the University of Mississippi, or as the laymen call it, Ole Miss.
Same shit.
Because, you know, that doesn't have any connotations at all. But, and of course, if you know anything historically about Ole Miss, it has its fair share of, let's say, controversies involving certain people of the African Americans' perspective. So, our guest today, Diamond, wants to speak a little bit on some issues regarding some race relations that are currently happening. Because, I mean, as a lot of people know, we've had, Ole Miss has had some issues with, of course, the Confederate flag, our former mascot that everybody lost their shit about, Colonel Reb, even some bullshit about the band playing Dixie. You know, it all, how they get their panties in a wad all the time. So, I'm going to let Diamond take the lead on this one.
Okay, well, introducing my discussion, I will be talking about some of the issues on campus involving race relations and past history tied to the campus.
By the way, Diamond, you're making us sound really official the way you're speaking right now. I don't usually feel this fancy.
Well, we're fancy and we're bougie, okay, and we're famous because we're on a podcast. All right. So, starting up this discussion, our associated student body is working on submitting a resolution to rename a couple buildings on campus that are tied to some notorious white supremacists. The first one being James K. Vardaman. We have a hall located on campus called Vardaman Hall. In this hall, there are a lot of minority groups that come together and they discuss ways for students to be academically and socially successful on campus, and they are housed in Vardaman Hall. James K. Vardaman was a notorious white supremacist. He was also a politician, and he was very famous. Most people will recognize James K. Vardaman's most famous quote, which was, "We will lynch every Negro." And this quote was in response to someone mentioning, why was he so against African Americans receiving the right to vote in Mississippi? And his response was, if necessary, he will lynch every Negro to prevent this from happening. So any Negro who attempted to register to vote or to vote in general will be lynched if he knew about it.
In order to maintain white supremacy, basically.
Right, in order to maintain white supremacy. What struck up this discussion on renaming Vardaman Hall was a member of ASB was going through the Washington Times, I believe a 2014 article of August, and in the article, the Washington Times titled it, "The University of Mississippi asks, is Ole Miss racist?" And a lot of people responded to the article. A lot of people on campus who found out about it emailed into the Washington Post saying, no, Ole Miss is not racist. We, everybody on campus loves each other, which is a bunch of load of crap, but that's what was said.
Saw rainbows and butterflies, of course. And,
right. Yeah. So they were, of course, everybody loves each other on campus, so whatever.
We love the niggers. I mean, sorry.
Right.
African Americans.
Yeah, that's about how they talk when
they our cotton. So then the Washington Times renamed the article, and they were like, they did not mean is the school racist. They wanted to know, is the name Ole Miss racist? To have a school called Ole Miss on most pedestals, is that racist? So we got into talking about names, and is Ole Miss racist? That is when the school began to, please don't call it Ole Miss. They send out all of the letters that they send for acceptance, for recruiting. If everyone has ever noticed, they do not say Ole Miss anymore. They say the University of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Right. And from that, ASB said, well, if we're not going to call it Ole Miss, then we need to take every name on campus that is negatively connotated regarding race, and we need to rename it. And first, we're going to start with Vardaman Hall because it is the most contradicting building on the campus.
Right. And of course, people, as always, people started to lose their shit because they don't, heritage not hate, as they always say.
Right, heritage not hate. And the first issue with the, whenever people started just kind of mustering up the conversation before the renaming was actually an official thing that ASB was going to pursue, people were like, they always trying to change something. The black people are always trying to change something. They never satisfied. And one of the ASB members made a social media post, and he said, please give me your feedback because ASB is going to submit a resolution to rename Vardaman Hall. And he gave this long, stretched out, informative about who James K. Vardaman is, who named Vardaman Hall, why they named it that, blah, blah, blah. And most of the responses consisted of either one, who is James K. Vardaman, or two, black people are never satisfied. Y'all can go, at least you're allowed onto the campus, y'all can at least deal with the white supremacist name.
Can I just say before you finish that it's crazy. That's always the response. Anytime there's a want to change something to remove a name from something or to not celebrate this Confederate bullshit ass racist history, it's always you black people could never be satisfied, or y'all always trying to take stuff from us. Because it's like, first of all, black people are not
to rename it not a white person if that's what would make them happy.
Exactly. We ain't going to take all the white people name off buildings. We want only black names on the buildings. And secondly, most of these initiatives aren't solely black led. Everyone with an ounce of not crazy in them is going,
Oh,
and
the person who...
As soon as they find out...
as soon as they find out...
it was named after they're like, we should probably change that.
Yeah, that's...
White.
Exactly.
The leader of this resolution is Alan Kuhn. Alan Kuhn is not black. He's white.
Yeah, of course.
So, he's been called a lot of things. He's been victimized.
Race traitor. N-word lover.
Yeah, race traitor. In January, I believe, he was walking on campus, and some guys in a pickup truck literally reminds you of a literal KKK scene. Some guys riding on campus, there were about 6 of them in the tailgate of the pickup truck, rode past and threw cans at him and things of that nature, calling him a traitor and an idiot, and you love the black vagina, and all of those things.
Of course.
Is it a bad thing to love black vagina?
I mean,
I don't think it's a bad thing to like any vagina.
Yeah.
Oh,
You,
Of course you do.
you gotta question anybody who has a dislike for a vagina. Well, for that normally likes vagina.
A heterosexual male who doesn't like vagina.
Or female. I mean, a homosexual female like vagina.
A lot of homosexual males say that they knew for a fact that they were gay the first time they tried vagina, and it was horrible.
That's
I'm serious.
When
like,
you know. Hell. The first time I saw a vagina, I was like, "That's what I want." That's how I knew. I was just like, "That's it."
Lord have mercy on souls.
Like, bless it. This back when I was religious too. I was just like, "Bless it." That's the Lord right there.
That's when I was religious.
Sorry, got off track again.
So I have questions for you guys. Like, what do you guys think about the renaming of the buildings? Do you guys think it's like over the top? You don't think it's too much? You know, is the university and ASB pursuing too much integrative techniques to make the campus more open? Like, do you guys think, like, should we just keep the Vardaman Hall? And should we just keep Paul B. Johnson Commons? Like, do we just need to keep these things? Like, what do you guys think?
Fuck no. Like, and of course, anyone who knows the show and knows me, I'm gonna say fuck no, because all right,
there's plenty enough good people in history. You don't have to name things for
exactly.
assholes.
Yeah, you don't continue to worship and celebrate people who did, like, as the example people use all the time is Hitler. You don't have buildings named after Hitler. Because he said fucked up shit.
Speaking of what JJ said, JJ mentioned, he said there are plenty of good people in history to name buildings after. Someone actually mentioned that in the post that I was telling you guys about that got really heated. He said, well, if we're not going to call it Vardaman Hall, then what are we going to call it? Who are we going to name it after? And I was like, is that a rhetorical question, or are you being serious?
We can put it to a vote.
Are you being serious? Like, we can name it anything but damn Vardaman. Like, come on.
There are plenty of
Don't
Mississippians.
tell them that, then they'll name it something like Jefferson Davis.
Right? George Washington Hall.
Like, there are plenty of famous Mississippians that have done amazing things that weren't shit people.
Right.
Jim Henson Hall. There we go.
I mean, Ida B. Wells. Can I mean Ida B. Wells? Anybody, please? Like,
Ida B. Wells.
She did a lot for the fucking university. Like, come on.
And there's nothing. Is there any building named after James fucking Meredith? Who integrated the school?
They said they told ASB got a response on all of that, and that someone submitted to name it after James Meredith. They said no because we already have a James Meredith statue.
Probably gonna have to wait till after he dies before they'll even consider that.
Oh, that's not gonna happen. James Meredith, that man's immortal. He just don't.
He was on campus this football season. You know, he always comes and everything.
Yeah.
It's I think Alan went up to him and asked him, you know, hey, how often do you come here? And he said, I don't even like coming here.
No, he really dislikes the campus. Like, he really doesn't. It did not. Of course, that experience did not leave a good taste in his mouth.
Yeah, no, he's like, I don't even like coming here.
I mean, shit. When your life is in danger just for wanting to go to school, just to continue your education,
right?
and you're a war vet, like he was a war vet, and it makes the history books as one of the biggest racial events of in American history. Of course, it's not going to leave a good taste in your mouth. You're not going to be wanting to come back. And especially when you come down here and all the buildings are all people who said, fuck you. Like, this is a school that its major claim to fame is that they want to be these football sports powerhouses. That's what they want to do. They have all these, and they want to recruit these nice, fast, athletic black boys. Just to be honest, they want them to come out there and run the ball for them. But you want these kids to come up here and be surrounded by all this white supremacist everything. Like, the buildings are named after literally a man who, when he was governor, would take convicts out and hunt them down like the most dangerous motherfucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it works for Alabama.
Oh my god. You got imagery. And the Confederate flag, they say it's down or whatever. No, you go to the Grove, you're going to have people out there with the Confederate flags.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have their Colonel Red bullshit all the time.
On their trucks.
Yeah. Like,
guys trying to get on their trucks.
This stuff doesn't go away. So, I mean, from a standpoint of we want to be accepted, we want to get past this racial history of bullshit, you have to change it. You can't just go, well, this is part of the university and we need to keep it because it's our history. No, moving away from this horrible past is not forgetting about history. You never forget it. As a historian, you never forget anything.
Forgetting it is the worst thing you can do.
Exactly.
Right.
No one's asking anyone to
forget. You're about to repeat it.
Yeah. We're just saying don't celebrate horrible people and horrible stuff. Like
James Meredith is part of the history.
Exactly.
A very significant part.
We're just saying don't celebrate bad stuff. That's not too much to ask for. And don't make the lives of your students and staff who are, and not even just black people, black students and staff, anyone who is not a part of that, who all this racial stuff, that racist ass stuff will make feel terrible, don't make them live in a hostile educational environment.
Right.
And you may not be having people calling people constantly calling somebody N-words, even though that does happen. But you don't have them shouting niggers in 2016 all day and every day. But
they be thinking it though.
Yeah.
Trust me, I drive people around when they're drunk. They say it a lot to me.
Oh no, I hear it. I hear it all the time. But there's little people try to be more, have some more discretion nowadays. But just because there's not actual violence and stuff against people of color and people who are regular normal people, doesn't mean that the environment you're creating by celebrating these people who basically ingrain that in the university is not creating a very, very hostile environment.
Totally agree. Just that, my main thing with it is connotation has a lot to do with things like that. Having a hall named Barnum Hall. And, when people say, well, just forget about it, just be glad we let you into our school. Shit like that just lets you know, this isn't over.
Exactly. What gets me is and I'm sure all of you have seen this, when someone goes, I don't see why you keep harping about racist stuff after all we did to get you people where you are.
Slavery ain't even doing slavery no more. You forget that one. Slavery's illegal. Ain't nobody a slave. Y'all act like y'all still slaves.
Excuse me, motherfucker. Oh my god, it blows my fucking mind. It's okay, guys, it's over now, and it's over now. You should just forget it, okay? You forget about slavery and the 60 plus years after, almost 100 years afterward, where you weren't people. Still, just forget about it. It's over now. Even though it's not that over, because you still getting shot.
Right.
And you still going to jail and you still can't get shit. But it's okay because you had a black president and that's all you ever wanted. So just shut the fuck up, niggas, and just be cool. And let us, control everything. Okay, stop it. Just stop it. Alright? And stop making yourself seem like heroes, especially with after all we've sacrificed for you people. You put
But
a
there's no sacrifice involved. Like, what did any of us white people sacrifice? I just don't understand how you can even reach that line of reasoning.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was think. That's what I was like. That's what blows my mind. It's like you say you sacrifice to get us where we are. How?
Right. I've always asked, and I literally brought this up to my mom when I was younger, and I was like, did Jesus tell white people they were superior? Like, I need to talk to the person that told white people that it was okay to enslave everybody of every other race. Like, who told white people that you can just sail across the sea, and if you find some land, even if there are people on it,
everybody else's,
like, you can just take it. Like, anything you want, you can just take it. You can just take the people. You can, if you get on the boat and you end up on someone else's land, that is now your land, and you can take it and you can kill them and rape their women. Like, I need to know who told these people. Like, I don't understand.
There is a really interesting book called The Color of Christ.
Could you repeat the name of the book again? The Color of Christ?
The Color of Christ.
Oh, Color of Christ. Okay.
Yeah, it's about how Jesus went from being this figure of light to this figure of whiteness in the United States, and sort of the pushback and the controversy around the Black Jesus stuff that a lot of churches have now.
Right.
Really interesting talking about, especially with how the United States is sort of based on this white supremacy, looking at how Jesus is used to support their horrible ideals.
Right. I'm actually looking up the book now as we speak, and I gotta read this. I have to read this, and it's and like on that subject, so many of these of the people, especially in Mississippi with the white supremacy, use the Bible so much to justify it. Like, when I was in school, I remember this, and this is another French camp story, everyone. I remember a teacher, of course, going on about the slaves being, you're supposed to be, slaves being good slaves and serving their masters and not running away, because that's what the Bible says.
Shit.
And I got up and said no. I got in trouble that day. I got up and said no, because that's garbage. Because I was like, are you telling me the slaves that ran away and wanted their freedom were sinners and wrong, and that they're going to hell? And that teacher told me yes.
That is what the Bible says.
And I was just like, I ain't dealing with this. Like, no, I'm not.
And people want to know why I haven't read the whole Bible. I don't want to read that shit.
And
I've read the whole thing. It's not worth it.
This is from and that was from Diamond, who's actually, you're a Christian, right, Diamond?
I don't know what the fuck I am, honestly. But no, to be completely honest, I think that I identify more with Christian than anything. If you want, you can call me agnostic, because I do not believe in the church.
Okay.
But I do believe in Jesus, and I believe in God, and I believe in heaven, and I believe in a hell. But I do not believe all that other bullshit that people believe that they find in church. A lot of my issues with the religion comes from church. Like, I don't believe that just because you're a preacher you can molest little boys. Like, I don't believe that.
You would, from a religious studies perspective, you would still qualify as a Christian because you believe in the divinity and the resurrection.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah. I don't deny that I identify as a Christian. I just don't. Like I said, my main issue with religion is I don't believe in the church. And to a lot of Christians, that makes me non-Christian. But to myself, I think that I still believe I think that I'm still a Christian. But like I said, to most devout Christians, I am not a Christian. I am a sinner, and I'm going to hell. But yeah, like I don't engage in the Bible. I don't go to church, and I don't believe in the church setting. Just because I feel like a lot of the bullshit that comes from religion does not come out of the religion itself or the Bible. A lot of the bullshit comes out of church.
Right.
A bunch of people come together and come up with dumb shit.
That's how you end up like us. That's how you end up like these dirty heathens. You better watch out, Diamond.
Definitely, and I was talking to a friend that still goes to the church I used to attend when I was younger. I was like, it's crazy. A lot of my friends these days are atheists, and she's like, "Ooh, girl, you been on such." I was like, "Oh God, here we go. Bye." This is why we don't talk as often as we used to, because I don't need you to tell me about who I can't talk to. Like shit like that makes me wonder, like, why are people religious again? Like, then now you can't really talk to.
Yeah, no, that's why I encourage this path of talk.
Like now that I talk to people who don't believe in God, now all of a sudden I'm going to hell. Okay, doesn't have anything to do with me, but all right then. So I'm going to hell.
We're infectious and contagious.
The same thing if I befriend the gay people and I'm going to be gay. Okay.
Yeah, you're impressionable.
I got plenty of gay friends. It doesn't make me want dick.
Right? Really? Like, I mean, come on.
You're not really their friend if it doesn't make you want dick. That's in the Bible.
Where's these passages?
Obviously, I'm an atheist too, so I don't have to believe the Bible.
No, trust me. I'm very. I've read the Bible a bunch of times. It's in there.
I need to get my Bible. I need to go find it because, man, if you being friends with somebody that's committing a sin is automatically makes you that sinner, then
Jesus qualifies, so they can't say Jesus is sinless.
Jesus was friends with them, though. Jesus welcomed them and told them to sin no more. That's not the same thing as being their friends while they are sinning.
What a judgmental bastard.
You're going to say that, then you can declare Jesus had no friends at all.
No, that's very arguable. Because if you are friends with someone, you are morally required to point out their sins in a private way to encourage them to reform. If they do not reform, you cannot continue to engage with them because you are then a participant in their misbehavior.
I do remember that now. And shit.
See, this is why y'all need me for all your religious disputes.
Well, it's been a while, honestly, and I don't just have my information on hand anymore. But no, I remember that now. Yeah. So
I'm the opinion editor for the Daily Mississippian for a whole nother week.
Make it good, Holly. Make it good.
Yeah, this is our last paper of the year for summer. We only do one a week in the summer. But a fellow religious studies major named Josh Law wrote a column for me. And so the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of preachers on campus, very much fire and brimstone type preachers. You're all going to hell because your women wear pants and you're all fornicators and you believe in education as a concept. And Crew, which used to be Campus Crusades for Christ, but is now hip to the kids, put a sign out in front of the grove that said, "You are loved, you are forgiven, you are a new creation, you are set free," which is supposed to, combat the ideas of the street preacher. What Josh wrote about is how at the very top, in much smaller print, it says, "If you place your faith in Christ." And so context for Josh, he is not a believer, he's not a Christian, but he wants there to be some sort of divine, but it would be best to call him an agnostic.
Right.
Because, he wants there to be one, but he's not convinced in any meaningful way. Doing the same thing as the street preach, saying that God's love is exclusive, that, unless you do right thing, then you're unloved by whatever, or by the Christian God specifically. And I have gotten a lot of responses to this.
Yeah, I would bet, because shit.
If you ever work in print journalism, if you're having a slow news week, write an article that criticizes Christianity in any way.
And the floodgates will open and they will descend upon you with great vengeance and furious anger.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
One of the response that I got, both of them basically had the same argument, which is that because, like, if you did everything right, if you were a good person, you volunteered and stuff, but then you like snapped and killed someone, the judge would say you're going to jail because he's the fair and just judge. And if he said to you, but if you love my son, I will let him go to jail for you and pay for your crimes. So if you don't love the son, then you've earned your place.
Do you know what I call that? I call that a shitty father.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's I think
Are y'all there?
Comfort.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
I think that argument originates with Ray Comfort. The first time I heard it, I was in the process of traveling from Oklahoma to Mississippi, and I hadn't slept in 36 hours, and somebody came up trying to convert me and proselytize to me. And I wish I had been more rested, but my mind wasn't working well enough to refute him after 36 hours without sleep.
Lord. So, that argument, it's supposed to show, I don't know. So, it's supposed to show that, God is, of course, merciful. The Christian God is, of course, merciful and all that stuff. But
It shows that he's horrible.
that's horrible. It's like you did something bad and you're going to jail. But if you go over here and hug my son, I'm just gonna kill him for you, and you don't have to go to jail. He'll go to jail for you. It's fine. It's fine. Just love me and show me appreciation.
Yeah, and it's so, like, I'm very well read in the Bible. So just reading their responses, like, their responses are accurate for who the God of the Bible is. Like, the God of the Bible, in my opinion, isn't a kind, just, loving God. He, supports mass genocide and supports slavery, and he's, he's sort of awful.
Yeah, I mean, dashing your children up on the stones and that stuff.
Yeah, like, you should be glad to dash children against the rocks. So I just don't understand how they know what they're saying. Like, they're using scripture to support themselves. I just don't know how they look at their scripture and say that God is a loving God.
Condition? Told it their whole life. They don't think about it. They repeat it by rote.
The same reason why Mississippi is one of the poorest states, is the poorest state in the United States, but they continue to vote conservative. Because just because, literally, just because it's what you're supposed to do. That's what your ancestors was doing, and that's what you need to be doing.
It's a little thing I like to call cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Like, literally, why does Mississippi continue to vote for conservative delegates? Because the conservative delegate is white. That's why. They just vote for the white man. Vote for the white man that your great granddaddy would have voted for.
And see,
believe in the white Jesus that your great granddaddy believed in.
And that's the thing. You
except their great granddaddy would have voted Democrat because they still hated the Republicans because the Republicans ended slavery.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about political parties. I meant literally.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing with these people. They, once again, it's cognitive dissonance. It's two conflicting ideas. And this is the thing I had. One of the things that led me down to the path of agnosticism, and eventually atheism, was the concept of a good God. Because at every church I ever went to, well, not every church, in every black church anyway, the white churches were different, but in every black church I ever went to, service was punctuated by the phrase, God is good all the time. Right. And all the time,
All the
God
time.
is good. And then we would go through, especially when Black churches also like to teach a lot of the Old Testament. And that's when that's when basically God was doing the worst shit. So I would be constantly hearing these horrible stories of punishment and wrath and stuff. And then it would be punctuated by, but God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. And it didn't make any sense, especially in regards to the story of Job.
Oh, Job.
Job has always been it has been the bane of my existence when it comes to the Bible, because it's basically, have we discussed this on the podcast yet, guys?
I don't think so.
Not sure.
Okay.
Do you want to summarize the story of Job and then I'll give my opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
For those of you who haven't read the Old Testament, the story of Job basically consists of this. So there's this guy who's really devout. He's wealthy. He's really devout. I think in the story he's the most devout man on earth at the time, right?
Yeah.
He's the most devout, most religious man on earth. He's the most devoted to God. He has all these wives, all these children. He's wealthy because he has earned God's favor. So Satan basically comes up to the throne of heaven, because apparently he can do that, and in essence offers God a challenge. He says, I bet I can make him.
He says that
yeah,
he wouldn't love you if he didn't have all this stuff.
Yeah.
So if he hadn't been so blessed by you, he wouldn't care for you. He wouldn't worship you.
So if you take all this stuff away, his devoutness will mean his devotion will go away. So basically, Satan gives God a dare. He said, "Take this man's stuff away, and it'll prove me right. Like he'll leave you alone." So God, never one to back down from a dare, decides to basically slowly start taking this man's stuff away. He starts taking away his riches.
God doesn't take it away.
Well,
Satan does.
Satan does,
Satan
but
permission,
yeah, still, I mean, he can't do it without his permission.
It is a difference, though.
Okay, Satan, and I have an issue with never mind. I'll to that later. But basically, Satan starts taking the stuff away, and as stuff gets taken away slowly, Job remains devout despite his friends and family members saying why, and you would
what he did wrong. He must have done something.
They're saying he must have done something wrong because this is happening to him, and all this stuff. He loses his wealth, his wives, his children. He's stricken with boils. And basically just the worst possible shit that can happen to you. And everyone around him is like, well, you must have really done something wrong to piss God off. And then Job gets to basically a breaking point where he's just like, why is this happening to me? Why are you doing this to me? And God comes to him and basically tells him, almost a how dare you? How dare you even question me a little bit? Because this is my plan. You stay devoted to me and know that what I'm doing is for you. I created you. I control everything. You put all your faith in me. Do not question what's happening. Just stay devoted. And to sum it up in the end, Job remains devoted, and he's healed, and everything he gets everything back sevenfold.
It was only,
Well,
I
not
think it
his
was
other
only twice
children.
over. Except his children. He only got the same amount of children.
Oh, yeah, only got the same amount of children. All right.
Yes.
He got
And
new children. He didn't get the ones that died.
Yeah. But so
And
And the Christian argument I always heard for that one was because his other children were in heaven, so he didn't need anymore.
yeah.
He
mm.
needed,
I'm sure that makes him feel better.
And what JJ was just saying, that is where my problem lies. Is the argument became, you see, Job was faithful through all the things that happened to him, and he got everything back, and even more so. But I always in my heart was just like, but that doesn't bring his wife back, who he loved. Doesn't bring back his children, who he loved. You can replace wealth, but you can't replace people. And Satan was allowed to destroy this man's life literally on a bet and take human lives just to prove a point. And that is not good. That is not the actions of a good being. That's not something a good being would allow. That is horrifying. That is an abusive being that basically, if that was a husband and a wife, and a husband allowed a friend to come in his house and beat the shit out of his wife, and then when the wife threatens to leave the husband goes, but it's okay, I love you. I let him do this, but I'm just going to give you some nice gifts and you'll be fine. That would be a shitty
because
husband.
all his children were much hotter than his old children.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. You did something horrible to this person. Giving it back to him doesn't change that, and it doesn't replace human lives. And you did this not for any reason, not for some divine plan, not to make it's. You did it because of a bet, a challenge.
Isn't gambling a sin?
It was petty, and if you believe in the Christian God, the God of the Old Testament, especially as being an all-knowing and all-seeing and for like infinite God, then He knew the outcome anyway. So there was no point in allowing any of it to happen. Why would you take a challenge from somebody that you already know what's the outcome is going to be? Why destroy this man's life if you already know how it's going to end? What is your point other than you get some kind of sadistic glee out of it? And that bothered the hell out of me.
From a historical perspective, I think that, like from a historical and literary perspective, Job was, just sort of an allegory that sometimes bad things happen to good people.
Sure.
But it's so interesting watching people use these Bible stories as they pull up, verses and stuff to explain their own circumstances, when the texts they're not eternal. They were very much written for that Hebrew audience and then the early Christian audience. They weren't, it's very hard to apply them to
It's
today.
a temporal text. Like, it's meant for a specific time.
I think it's valuable, and I think it is, contrary to JJ, I think it is very interesting.
I find it quite interesting. I just find reading it boring. Analyzing it's fun.
You don't find it interesting. You find it boring because you don't like reading it.
It's like Aesop's fables.
See, I enjoy reading those though.
Yeah.
So, they're interesting because to me, something's you need to enjoy it for something. I guess something can be interesting and not enjoy it. But I enjoy the Bible. But I enjoy it I read the Bhagavad Gita over spring break, and that book, I generally try not to curse on this, but that book fucked me up. I was like, whoa, am I even real? And the answer is probably not.
I'll admit myself, or not admit myself, I love to read the Bible and the Quran. I really, as works of literature, love them. I like to read them like Harry Potter.
I like the Quran, not the Bible so much, but the Quran, yes.
I haven't actually read the Quran yet.
It
I
is
have a copy if you want to
interesting.
borrow it.
Oh, I have a copy as well. I just haven't sat down and done
Yeah,
it.
you are a religious studies major. I suppose you
Yeah.
have to. I haven't gotten to the Bhagavad Gita yet, so I guess we're even.
Bhagavad Gita is a short little book, as long as you don't get the Hare Krishna copy.
Which is one everybody. I got the Hare Krishna copy, and I'm now. It's like Holly has made me want to go out and get an actual copy.
The Hare Krishna copy isn't bad. I just think that they, he adds a lot of, like, he basically walks you through it, which is good if you're a Hare Krishna, but if you're not looking for it specifically from a Hare Krishna perspective, then it's not as useful.
Right.
I'm actually reading a book right now called Saffron Cross. It is about how a Southern Baptist minister married a former Hindu monk.
Oh.
And the first chapter is called The Sexless Honeymoon. And her husband went to, let me look up the name of the town because it's an Indian name, so it's incredibly long. They went to Vrindavan, which is a small village about 90 miles outside of New Delhi, and it's where Hare Krishnas and most other Hindus believe that Krishna was born. So it's like their Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they spent their honeymoon. It's so interesting.
Bethlehem.
But it's more holy than Bethlehem, because we don't go to Bethlehem. We don't visit.
Sure we do. The quote-unquote city of Bethlehem makes a lot of money off of tourists, even though it didn't actually exist at the time, but...
I'm pretty sure there is some record of Bethlehem, but there's not. It's like one other mention, not as significant that.
Well, no, at the
What?
time that Jesus was supposed to be, the town that we call Bethlehem did not exist.
Basically, the difference between the current Bethlehem and the historic Bethlehem.
But then there's, 3 different grave sites for Jesus in Jerusalem?
There's
Also-
only one official one that is used, but I'm sure many have been claimed.
Yeah.
That's the Church of the Holy
It's not
Sepulchre,
as
isn't it?
bad as it used to be. Like in the Middle Ages, like there would be 16 different Mary Magdalene bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they've improved since then, but I'm pretty sure there's only one right now.
Yeah, they'll find. Wait a few years, they'll find another one. Yeah, but it's while she's oh my God, sorry. I'm just thinking, and like back to the original like subject where we're talking about people using. It's when it gets down to people who believe the Bible is true and all of that. It's very hard, even with more liberal Christians, to. It's hard for liberal Christians to exist, if that makes any sense.
I mean, not necessarily. Like you have people like Shane Claiborne and Tony Campolo who are red letter Christians, who live their lives in very radical ways in service of others, because they think that's what Jesus would want them to do. But they will admit they do not hold the Old Testament in nearly as high regard.
That's what I was meaning. Is like I guess what I'm saying is it's really hard for straight like I accept all of this with the same amount of like acceptance.
Well, they acknowledge that every religious group, like every group of Christians, privileges different parts of the Bible over others.
Right.
They are just okay with admitting it. We're learning about the rise of fundamentalism in my History of Religion in the South course right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the Scopes trial, and how the fundamentalists at the time, like William Jennings Bryan and all them, were claiming that fundamentalists literally believed the Bible. I was like, well, in the Scopes trial, did they bring up the fact that there's 2 different creation narratives? in the
Right,
Bible.
exactly.
And he's like, well, no. And it's because, fundamentalists claim that they took the Bible literally, but they didn't. And that's no religious group in the entire world takes all of their religious texts.
Everybody picks and chooses.
Yeah, and that's human nature.
Yeah, you pick all the best parts for yourself, and whatever you want to use to justify something you already hold or something you need. You feel like you need. You're going to use that part of it.
Yeah. Diamond, are you still on the call?
Mhm.
Okay, so I just hadn't heard you in a bit. I actually have a question for you. And if you don't want to answer, I understand. But you say that you consider yourself a Christian, you still believe in Jesus. But if you don't value the Bible that highly, how do you, where do you get your info on Jesus and your beliefs on him um, if you don't value the Bible?
Well, that's the thing. That's why I say that. Like I said, I think I identify as a Christian, but I don't believe in church, and that, not that I don't value the Bible, and that because I don't necessarily take it word for word. I have read it, and I do know what it says. I have not, read it the whole entire book, sat down, started Genesis, and went all the way to the end. But I did go to church for the first 16 years of my life, and going to church, I had to participate in Sunday school and things like that. So I had to read it. I do know what it says, and of course, like I said, I don't take it word for word, and I don't feel like certain parts of it are applicable to my life, and I do not agree with them, which makes me starting with the Bible and reading it. That is how I removed myself from the church, because I felt like I was getting a certain type of interpretation from it that I wasn't getting in church. I would read the Bible, then I go to church, and they would preach the same thing I just read, but say something completely different that I didn't agree with. So, to answer your question, I did get my information from the Bible. I just do not believe that everything in the Bible should be taken word for word. I do not feel like all parts of it are applicable to my life, and some parts of it I just flat out don't agree with.
Do you go to church currently?
Do I go to church?
Yeah.
No, I do not.
Have you ever considered looking into some of the more liberal denominations and their theology and stuff like that?
I have. I've been to a couple non-denominational churches because when I first stopped going to the church I was going to, I went to a Church of God in Christ. When I first stopped going to that church, I still longed for the institutionalism of my religion. So I still wanted to go. So I've been to a few non-denominational churches, and I did like them. I just have not found one in Oxford that I actually do like. I like the one in, I went to a couple in Memphis, and I did like those. But like I said, in Oxford, I do not like them. I have been to a Baptist church, I've been to a non-denominational church here, and I've been to a Church of Christ, and all of them made my skin crawl.
Which non-denominational one did you go to? I'm being really nosy. I'm sorry. Just tell me to stop whenever.
I'm sorry, what? All I heard was I'm being nosy.
Which non-denominational church did you go to?
I want to call it Grace.
Oh, I think that's across the road from where I live. Is it by Snap Fitness?
Huh?
Is it by Snap Fitness?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a non-Christian evangelist now. I recommend that if you want to look into a church, the Orchard in town is really nice. I went there while I was still religious, and I'm actually still friends with one of the pastors. And they're technically Methodist, but not at all Methodist.
Mm-hmm.
They don't follow any of the liturgical practices or anything like that. So,
okay.
If you're interested, it's always
look into it, because, like I said, I'm not closed-minded to church. The institutions that I've attended and some of the ones that I've been to, they have this element of them that just really I don't like.
Yeah,
it takes me away from what I want to believe, and I feel like religion should be spiritual. You should get positivity from it, and a lot of the things that I receive when I go to church are just not that.
The Orchard is very positive.
May I suggest one? Well, not one, because I don't know it, but because I've never been there. But if you're up in like Memphis area, some friends of mine go to the Universalist Unitarian Church,
I've been there.
and I mean they say good things.
There's actually one in town, I believe. I think I drive past it a lot.
That the Oasis? Is that
I'm not sure.
Universalist? I think possibly. But I've heard good things about the Unitarians. Yes. Actually, they're a church of all nations, whatever that means.
That sounds weird. I'm just kidding.
It's always the weird ones that really get you, though.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I went to a non-denominational church. It was one of my favorites, called Shelby Farms.
Oh yeah, Shelby Farms is actually right down the street from my friend's house.
Yeah, Shelby Farms. And I was like, what the hell? What does it got to do with Jesus?
What this got to do with Jesus?
It's one of my favorite ones. Like, really.
It's hilarious. It amazes me all the different churches and beliefs out there that within religions, the different denominations or non-denominations, quote unquote, that are out there. That part of religion always amazed me because everyone has their own set of ideas, and what bothers me is when people start thinking, of course, as is human nature, to think their idea is better than other people's idea within the same religion, especially. So, like, that always bothered me. Like, growing up, the people I were around always just like, well, Catholics aren't real Christians, or, man, these people are clapping too much in their church services. They're not being observant of God enough, so they're not real Christians, and that sort of thing. It fuck with me real bad. But on the subject of religion and people using religion to believe things, I'm sure most of you have already heard about the controversy around Target coming out and releasing an official statement saying their bathrooms are open to people, like they're not going to keep trans individuals out of bathrooms based on their birth sex, which is right.
You shit wherever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, basically, yeah. They're not gonna if a trans woman goes into a woman's bathroom, they ain't gonna keep you out, and vice versa. And people, upon hearing of this announcement, which didn't have to be an announcement, it really didn't, because Walmart
they've announced it before. It's been a policy for a long time there.
Yeah, and Walmart has the same policy. But upon this announcement, yet again, people flipped their shit and started a boycott of Target. And the main thing that I hear from the people that are boycotting Target is, how dare basically Target allow, I hate it, quote unquote sexual predators and deviants into the bathroom. What about the children? And that fucking blows my mind.
Equating a trans person with a pedophile.
Exactly. That's the thing that because of the years, like, if obviously trans people are pedophiles, like that's the line of thought is, if you're transgender, then you obviously want to molest children or rape women.
One of my biggest issues with that is, first of all, when you go into places like Target, which is a big ass department store, who lets their child go to the bathroom by themselves, and when people speak of their children, I'm assuming they're speaking of children who cannot defend themselves.
Right.
5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. Oh, there can be sexual predators in the bathroom, and they can prey on my child. Why the fuck would you let your 7-year-old go to the bathroom all by themselves? In a place, I'm sorry, but I feel like people are calling out too much about their kids and, worrying about the world protecting their kids when that is your job as a parent. Like, you can't depend on Target to make sure that there aren't sexual predators in the damn bathroom. That's your job. That's your child, and you need to protect them.
There are two
And they're worried about protecting the
and
girls.
if you're so worried about somebody preying on your kid when they go piss, you go with them.
Okay, that was all right. Back it up because there was too many people talking at the same time. we gotta stop that, guys. All right. In agreeal, I'm with Diamond on this one, of course. Like, if watch your children, because anyone could do anything to your child. It don't matter if they're transsexual, straight, and statistically, if anything is going to happen to your child, it's going to be from a person that's quote unquote that is heteronormative
and usually knows you.
And knows you. It's stranger danger is mostly bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple issues with the whole sort of panic coming out around the bathroom bill.
Right.
Though I will say that I understand how they get to the conclusion about trans people being abusive. But I'm going to explain why before y'all get mad. I don't agree with it, but this is how you logically get there.
Explain to us, Holly. Educate us.
The first step you have to take is that they don't see transgender separated from sexuality in any way.
Oh, right.
So to them, it's tied to sexuality.
It's sexual deviancy.
Yeah. So in their mind, when we think about sex, we generally think of consensual and non-consensual. So consensual sex is fine, non-consensual isn't. So rape is wrong, sleeping with a child is wrong, molestation is wrong. But things like adultery isn't, it's still consensual. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that's how we divide it. So sex outside of marriage, sex with multiple people, consensual, non-consensual. For them, sex is divided into holy and unholy.
Right.
So you have holy sex, which is sex within marriage, and unholy sex is everything else. So sex outside of marriage, premarital sex, molestation, rape. So to them, to many of them, someone having sex outside of marriage is the same thing as sexually abusing a child. This isn't everyone, of course. This is sort of a gross overgeneralization. But the same thing happened around the time that Josh Duggar, it was found out that he had abused his sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone was like, oh, he made a mistake. Because in their mind, it was just a unholy sex act. It wasn't, it was no worse than him having affairs.
Right.
So that's their logic. My biggest issue with this whole thing is how people are reacting to it, especially a lot of my family has become ultra conservative as of late. So my aunts and uncles have been getting all riled up about this, and I have a family member who, I'm not going to specify which family member they are, but that abuse children pretty severely. There's someone knocking at my door. I'm sorry. Someone else talk. I'll come back.
Get them, Stormy. But what Holly's saying is right. That's how they think. That's how not they, but that's how the most vocal of this group rationalizes such this whole thing. And on the whole subject of course, It reminds me, and I've said this multiple times with this bathroom issue. They say, of course, if you obviously in this case the trans people are tied to rape and stuff, and it reminds me of back in the day, quote unquote, a few decades ago, where it wasn't trans people, the trans individuals going into the bathrooms they were worried about doing the raping. It was big black men. And of course, like she was saying, it's the holy and unholy sex. That of course is also tied into that, of course, along with the racial stuff. But in the Bible, it says that interracial mixing like that is a sin. It's that's in there too. And
So I'm back. Sorry.
It's just that to me it's just another reproduction of that yet again. Like, you want to tie someone that you consider the unholy other to the worst acts you can think of. Like, they're your fear. Like, you just want to tie them back to your fear. Okay, sorry.
I don't remember where I left off. Something about my family. So my family has been very concerned with all these trans people using bathrooms. But we have an abuser in my family, and they worship him. They treat an actual child rapist like a god, and they worship at the altar of his grave. But the fact that a trans person may possibly be a pedophile, despite the fact that there's no evidence to support this.
Right.
It's infuriating. And I posted something about it, like one of those like subtly calling out my family things after the GOP speaker got jail time for something not related to his abuse crimes. It's just sort of saying, abusers hide all around us as parents, family, friends, mentors. Our silence is approval. Our love for abusers is endorsement of their cruelty. So we create issues that don't exist, like fearing trans pedophiles, because we want to condemn the other, like you were saying, but ignore actual living, breathing, confirmed abusers.
That's it, and it's because you have to blame these horrible actions on other people, because you cannot confront what is happening inside your own home, your own group. There was an old black gospel song that they used to sing growing up, and it's called "Sweep Around Your Own Front Door Before You Come Sweep Around Mine." Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it is. If you acknowledge the fact that this stuff is really happening, and it's not the other, it's not the people you see as evil, as sinful, as deviant, that it's happening from the people you care about, that you're a part of, that you even love, that can shatter your world completely.
Oh yeah, I posted something a few weeks ago, and it said that families will disown a gay family member before they disown a family predator.
Right.
And I think it's sad, and I don't speak to a large portion of my family for that very reason. They disown gay family members, but there are multiple sexual predators in the family that have preyed on so many of the female family members, but they're still welcome.
And
it's just, we're just going to sweep it under the rug, and we're going to act like we don't know, and Uncle Joe is going to stay around, and I think that's bullshit, like, for real.
As horrible as this sounds, especially in the South, there are so many Southern families where that is, like, it is rampant.
I have a poem called "Every Southern Family Has a Secret Child Fucker."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Definitely.
Uncle Diddles.
And it's okay. It's okay. We're just gonna hush hush. Like, just hush. Don't you dare say anything. And you better not act like Uncle Joe raped you, because he didn't. Uncle Joe rapes everyone, and it's okay. That's what Uncle Joe do.
Brother about the people being transsexual and going into the bathroom on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and he was threatening to shoot people that went to the bathroom with his daughters. And I'm like, Josh, you have a son. If they don't go into the girls' bathroom, they're going into a boys' bathroom.
Exactly.
And I'm just gonna say, JJ, that has been something that's also been blowing my mind with this whole argument. They're focusing, of course, they're focusing on the women, on the vulnerable little girls and women that these transgendered men are going to rape, quote unquote. But they're not saying, of course, they're not saying anything about the men's bathroom. If these are, sexual deviants is going to rape your children, your sons are in just as much danger, but you don't give a shit about your sons. You're not trying to fight for your sons.
Yeah, because we don't value
mainly because the argument is superficial.
Exactly.
The argument itself is superficial. Like, no, we're not. I mean, because if the argument was truly, if it was truly a threat, then people would be worried about their sons. But no, people don't give a shit about male victims of rape, and people don't give a shit about the depth of the argument. There is no depth. It's extremely superficial, and we're just gonna say that trans men rape girls, and that's enough to get it to go away. The argument itself is superficial. You can't go that deep and even begin to think that, our boys are in danger as well. People who go with that argument against the Target being open in their bathrooms, like, they don't think that much. There's no reason to think that deep into it. We're just going to go with this right here. We're going to say that females are in danger. That's it.
Well, the lack of concern for male abuse, comes from the fact that we don't value male purity. So, female abuse, the only reason it matters at all is in instances of maintaining, purity and virtue. And since it doesn't matter about men, they can be, there is no purity for men. There's only, being sexual. The idea of a child, a male child being hurt, it doesn't really matter. There's no reason to pay attention to it because, it doesn't happen.
But the problem, sorry, I'm stuttering. The issue with that that I see is, wow, there's not a real care about, a young male's purity. There is a big scare of something homosexual happening to males.
Well, yeah, that's why when the Catholic Church, all their sex scandals, people talk about Catholic priests molesting young boys, but just as many girls got molested too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the loss of the masculine male through a homosexual act is a very big fear in these same groups, and their whole point is, well, trans women aren't women, they're men. So but obviously you don't give a shit about your sons, so you're worried about your daughters getting raped by men, which is really fucking awful because you don't want their purity to go away, but you're okay with your sons obviously being in that same danger, but it's still horrible for anything homosexual to happen to you or your sons, which from people you will still consider men. You know what I'm saying here?
Yeah. They don't, but don't really expect them to. It'll take a bit for it to process.
True. I'm sorry, but you have to decide. You really have to decide what you mean. You have to decide what side of the art, what. Sorry, I can't even focus. The anger is building, and I apologize. But you have to decide what you want. If you're going to have an issue with it, you're going to have to cover the issue fully.
Yeah. Oh, in that argument I got in with my brother, my father's cousin got in on it, who I very rarely speak to, but He's a trans man who has a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he was quite a bit more diplomatic than I was with my brother.
Right. And we're going to be wrapping up here soon in the next like 10 minutes or so. But I wanted to bring up, and JJ, you reminded me of it because you're the one that called my attention to me, my attention to it. A mutual friend of ours posted something about a Christian lawyer, vowing to carry her guns into bathrooms to protect herself from rape from trans men, of course.
Yeah.
And JJ commented on it, and which brought it to my attention because JJ ended up getting called someone who supports people getting raped because he said that this woman carrying these guns into the bathroom was just insanity. And the response from another one of our friends, of course, was that the woman, of course, should be allowed to protect herself from these trans rapists in Target's bathrooms. And JJ just wants people to get raped. And I got involved, and I have a tendency of going overboard, as seen on this show.
Can you send me a link to that?
I'll have to find it again. JJ probably can find it faster than me, though.
Yeah, I know. Said it.
But my thing was, I went off. I was like, this is ridiculous. Because statistically, as we were saying earlier, if this woman is going to get raped or her children are going to be in danger, it's going to be from transgendered people. I got to work on that. I'm still growing on it. Transgender people. It's going to come from, once again, people you know who are heteronormative. It's not going to be some stranger in the bathroom. It's going to be someone in your home, your school, your church, someone close to you. Someone's going to have access to you. And our other friend's reply was to me about that was, well, the big problem is people are just talking about rape too much.
Lord Jesus.
That people are just too, like, all those statistics are overblown and people are worrying about rape too much. And it's just a panic about rape. And you really shouldn't be telling people to not worry about trans people raping people. You should be telling people to not worry about rape so much.
We've talked about doing a woman-centric episode in the future, and we should. But I've said this before on the podcast, the only time I have ever truly felt unsafe as a white woman is if I am alone in a room full of men. I'm constantly doing those little checks, am I okay? Is this fine? Because you have to. We're
right.
Trained from a very young age. We have to be on alert because we can't trust anyone. I can't even. 1 in 4 women is sexually assaulted at some point in her life. Most women who are sexually assaulted more than once.
Right. This was that. My response to it all was, I was like, the fact of the matter is, there are people that are there are women in danger. Rape culture is a thing. People and this, and I was like, this whole thing, as I was saying earlier, this whole trans thing is not because it's not because these people are in danger from trans individuals. It's that this is happening. This culture is out here, and it's out here from quote unquote normal people. and you want to say and you want to blame the fact that it's happening on someone else because you don't want to confront the problems in your society, the problems in your thought processes that are causing it.
Give me it.
Like that's all it is. You want to blame someone else for the failings that are around you, because you can't confront the fact that you may be like your way of thinking may be wrong, and it may be the cause of these horrible things that are happening. Like, women should not have to live in fear, and children should not have to live in fear of someone. We shouldn't have to be hearing about these situations rising. None of this should be an issue because it shouldn't exist. And there's a problem in our society that it exists. That people feel like they can rape people. Sorry, but y'all get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I was just taken aback by the reply of people are just worrying about rape too much. Like, oh my God, really? Like, your reply, and the funny thing is, I know what sent out their reply. My earlier comment basically called him on his bullshit, and you needed something to say back, but you didn't have anything. So you give out a bullshit argument that had nothing to do with what you originally said.
Yeah, have you not talked to him before?
Yeah, but it just really took me back, especially when he one of the main things that kept being said, especially aimed towards JJ, was, well, you just want people to be raped. And then a comment not far under it is, there's too much talk about rape.
Wow, these people are really, really stupid. Like, I'm reading this thread, and it's just like Roy Watson. Like, he's perfect.
Roy, or Ricky, you're gonna have to edit that part.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to. We just have to.
We can
Yeah.
bleep that
For
somehow.
future notice, don't say names because that can lead to doxing, which is something we don't want to encourage.
Yeah, I had to get Catherine to do that same thing last week.
This person who posted the original, like, person who's posted it, is that the person you want to have on the podcast eventually?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
You know,
For
he's
differing opinion. There doesn't get much of a different opinion than him.
differing opinion, and he's not.
But we don't have to have different opinions.
He's not as
for justice.
he's
Why?
not. Here's the thing about him. He's not as bad as it seems. He's just very easily misled. And when you get down and talk to him and start discussing things, he becomes more digestible. But he's a
product of when and where he grew up.
Yeah, basically,
Generally.
he's a product of when we grow up, and honestly, he can keep a good conversation, and he actually has some good opinions. It's just that the the bad opinions are just kind of
Really
I
bad.
don't accept the excuse that that someone is the product of where they grew up, especially because my entire family supports Donald Trump, and Rakeem is from fucking French camp.
it's about how you respond to where you grew up.
Well,
I just don't think that is a valid
the only reason we're pointing that out is because he hasn't encountered people from the opposite stance as much.
And when you talk to him and you actually like bring up good points, like this is why I want him to show, because around other people where there is actual discussion and like valid points, he becomes more intelligible, and the it's like a sandcastle against the waves.
Well, okay.
Rakeem believes he can save him. That's why.
I don't believe I can save anyone, but
Are you trying to proselytize your false religion of justice on him?
no, no. I just
Uh,
I don't know. I'm not trying to. Yeah, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to save anyone, but he's he's not a bad dude. He really isn't.
I think the biggest reason why he shared that thing in particular is because he's a really pro-gun guy.
Yeah,
I'm
But
not
the motivation
anti-gun.
for what?
I'm not anti-gun. I'm anti the kind of person who wants a gun.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, because for example, my father owns a lot of guns. He's the kind of person who should own guns. Because, like, one of those things I've always heard is if you conceal carry, you have to be the calmest person in the room. Someone can be in your face spitting on you, and you have to be like, no, dude, you're not doing this. Like, you have to become the calmest person in the room because you can end someone's life. And the same thing, like, this is what happens with the military and the police, is the wrong kind of people want those jobs. So we need like power-hungry cops that, kill everyone, and then soldiers who contribute to, like, mass abuse to their other soldiers and to, like, foreign people. And then the average person who owns a gun isn't, like, a super calm, able to maintain it. And
Exactly.
that's why people own guns and, like, shoot their neighbors for not mowing their lawns.
It's like
So just need her to discuss cops with him, and she'll be great.
yes, and that's another thing. It's weird. Like especially with that post, he's also shared posts like against the people who are boycotting Target. So it's always like he always has conflicting things.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance back again with its return. But on the gun issue, one thing that I've always said was people that really want power should not have it. And that's the same thing with like you were saying. It's the same thing with me on the gun issue. People who really want guns don't need them.
Yeah.
That's like our former participator on the show, Dasha. She really wants a gun, and she also really wants a hatchet. And my reply to her is, I will not give a serial killer a weapon.
Like,
I just know you'll be her first victim.
I can't own a gun. I have too many, like, mental instability things. If I own a gun, I'm going to kill myself with it. It's not a question of if, it's when. And it's like, a lot of people don't have that self-awareness to say, I could be dangerous with this.
Right.
I know that feeling.
But yeah, that's why, like, I wouldn't even consider having a weapon, because I would end up hurting myself.
Well, see, I have a family shotgun that I don't have with me, but like technically it was left like to my grandfather's grandson, which of course is me because I'm the grandson. And I've considered getting it from my family just because, like, just to keep it in the family basically and take care of it, but. I know that I don't need to be. I don't need it around me. Like I don't need it because while I've worked on the mental stability, I don't know if I could say I would not use it for the wrong reasons. Like I can't say if somebody didn't really like hurt someone I care about. Like if Dasha, like somebody like hit her or did something to her, I wouldn't go out and blow the brains out, because that's my sister. I know I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't kill anyone. But if I had a gun, I would.
Especially
or if somebody, like, or somebody hurt one of my friends, like even JJ and Harley. If somebody was to do something to either you guys and I had a gun, they would be gone.
Yeah, like, so you don't need a gun.
Yeah, I don't need a gun because I just, I don't want to say it out loud, but I would probably kill someone if it arose. And I know that's not right. I don't need to do that. As Rihanna would say, I don't want to be a murderer. But as Holly was saying, most people, like a lot of the people who, are these gun wing nuts, don't have that kind of forethought. They just want to stroke and molest their gun while nobody's looking, and then when Tyrone step on their lawn, they have an excuse to blast him.
Right.
It makes them feel tough.
Yeah. And on that day, Jim Bob's dick grew 3 sizes.
Oh, my brother desperately wants me to shoot a gun with him because he talks about how empowering it feels, and I just tell him I don't need a gun to feel powerful.
And
now, I do think everyone should know how to use one.
Yeah.
Like, everyone should know the proper gun safety protocol. But that just comes from my own bias of like being raised around guns.
I think that too, especially that it's you're probably never going to encounter in your life, but there might be an instance at some point where you may have to use a gun. And if that instance ever arose, you should probably know how to use it and use it properly. Because guns are a part of modern life. Like, I know how to sew up a wound. I probably, or like, I know how to make a fire in the woods. I'm probably not going to need to know how to make a fire in the woods. I'm probably not going to be in that situation. But it's a good thing to know, if I ever am in that situation. Yeah, but there will honestly that would probably be an entirely different podcast on guns, because I have some opinions that would probably piss a lot of people off, but we would have to talk about it on a separate date. Is there anything else anybody would like to throw in or discuss?
I have a fun fact to end the day.
Go for it.
So, these are my 2 favorite facts about DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled's name is Khaled Khaled. Like, that's his name. Like, Khaled Muhammad Khaled. And 2, he loves flowers. Like, just spends a lot of time just watering his flowers.
I could see that. I feel like DJ Khaled and Drake are the two musicians that like, if you want to go into a meadow and have a picnic with, it would be those 2.
Right.
It just, you pick between them based on volume. So if you want a loud picnic, you go with DJ Khaled.
Yeah. And if you just went through a breakup and you need to go on a picnic, you go with Drake.
Definitely.
But yeah, so if
I
you're
told
ever
my
gonna
boyfriend, I
have-
was like, Drake and Adele are the type of singers that, like, after you listen to their music, you'll call the ex that cheated on you and tell them you're sorry. Like, legitimately. Like, Drake and Adele can make me feel things for people I shouldn't feel things for. Like, they will, like, I legitimately want to call people that I never done anything to them. Like, I'm so sorry that you were mean to me and that you cheated on me and treated me like shit. Like, I'm sorry.
You call your fourth grade crush like, I'm so sorry that.
Right. I should have gotten you the larger sucker. Like I wasn't thinking. It's been holding me back in life, and I gotta get this off my chest.
I want Drake and Adele to date and then break up because that would be great.
It'll create the best album of all time.
And then I want Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift to date and break up.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
Right?
here's the thing: have those two couples date, but then have them break up for the other partners.
Oh.
Wow. Can we please throw Sam Smith and Frank Ocean in there? Like, we can get Sam Smith and Frank Ocean to like collaborate. Oh my god!
No,
like,
I'm
everybody's
mad.
hearts.
I'm mad at Sam Smith.
What are you mad at? Why are you mad at Sam Smith?
Because I didn't want him to win the Oscar.
Oh.
Look, Oscar fact: the music Oscar, if there's a James Bond film, the music Oscar for that year for best song will always go to the James Bond theme song.
That's not true, though.
It is true.
It's not.
It has happened most
It
times.
happens every time.
It has happened almost every time.
It's happened twice. Skyfall and this one.
No, it happened before that too. Alicia Keys won. Alicia Keys and dude from the Black Keys, whatever his name is.
I'm about to pull this up right now. No, and it was her time. Not Lady Gaga's the other songwriter because she's been nominated like 18 times. She never wins. And then stupid Sam Smith won. And like Lady Gaga had the best year. She won a Golden Globe. She performed at the Grammys and the Super Bowl. And the only thing Sam Smith did this year was lose weight.
Hey!
He got a boyfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
congrats.
He got a new boyfriend.
No.
Let's see if that person will stay with him.
Yeah, he got a new boyfriend, and then he's like, I'm the first gay person to win an Oscar. And then everyone else was like, nah, bruh. No.
First out, maybe.
No. Not even the first out.
Who was the first out to win an Oscar? Okay, sorry, we've went somewhere wrong.
What's his name? Elton John was out in the 90s.
But did he win an Oscar?
Yes, he won an
Yeah,
Oscar.
Elton John won an Oscar for Lion King.
Yeah, for Lion King. Oh, that's right.
You better watch
They
yourself.
never won a damn Oscar. She ain't never been nominated.
Who?
Alicia Keys.
What did I say?
Alicia Keys.
That's.
Is she gay? She's not gay.
No. We've gotten so lost. Wait.
No, we're talking about. He said that all the James
But
Bond.
who was that? It was a black
He
woman.
was thinking Grammy, not Oscar.
Oh.
That's right. That.
You
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
You're so dumb.
Yeah, never mind.
And in the 90s, every one of them was like a freaking Disney song, except for like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So no, you're wrong. You're just wrong, and I knew you were wrong because I know all my Oscar trivia.
Well, I'm sorry. What would you like as recompense?
I want Lady Gaga to have the Oscar.
Lady Gaga's not gonna win, goddammit.
She already lost.
Yeah, I know. It's over now.
Therefore, not
God,
going to win.
no, this has been a year of injustices for me. Lady Gaga lost the Oscar. Kendrick Lamar lost Album of the Year.
Okay, and I will say that was bullshit.
Not say that. Please don't say that.
There's no justice. There's no
Don't
peace.
talk about Kendrick Lamar because my fiance can hear you and he gets very bent out of shape. That's the fact that Kendrick Lamar did not get.
So this is all completely unrelated to the podcast, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It always. But this is what happens. It always goes off topic.
Just at the end. Just at the end. We come back around to the middle, but now we're just talking about that. God, she would have been on her way to an EGOT, because you know her ass is going to win a Tony eventually.
Oh, she better.
Oh, and she's probably going to win a freaking Emmy this year for American Horror Story. So she would have been a third of the way to an EGOT, and all she had to do was, like, snap her fingers and they'd write a damn play for her. But no. Sam Smith had to go and ruin everything, because that's what he does. He's a ruiner.
I like that song though.
So we have feelings towards Sam Smith. Okay.
We hate Sam Smith.
I like
We
that
hate
song.
Sam Smith and we hate pandas.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Wait, hey, pandas?
Holly has a vendetta against pandas. She really hates pandas.
How can you hate pandas? They're black, white, and Asian.
No, here's what's wrong with pandas, right? Pandas are stupid. They want.
They really are. Like, if you think about it for a long.
They don't have sex, so there's no new pandas. They have a digestive system made to eat meat, but then they eat bamboo like it's nutritious. They sit around and get fat instead of just doing anything. They're smart enough that they can trick the people taking care of them into thinking they're pregnant to give them fancy food, but not smart enough to figure out what the dick goes. I hate pandas. We need to look at them. They contribute nothing. Right.
Pandas have the worst balance. Like, if you ever watch pandas, like, in a zoo, they fall all over the damn place. And
I was at the zoo, I saw a panda taking a shit.
What the fuck is happening?
Like, they legitimately just fall. Like, they just be rolling around, and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with it?
No, it's because pandas are the worst animals ever. They have nothing going from them. I hate pandas, and I hate people who love pandas.
I don't love
hate
pandas.
the entire world then, because everybody loves pandas.
No,
I have a serious problem with sloths. Like, I'm serious.
Oh,
what did sloths do?
Like, I'm not joking. Like, I have a serious problem with sloths. Like,
what the hell has this podcast become?
Holly and Diamond complaining about cute animals.
This is the weirdest turn we've ever had.
My moral complaints with pandas go beyond mere appearances, JJ. I go beyond skin deep.
Like, I just have a problem with sloths. I don't like the way they look, and I don't like the shit they do. Like, I watched a video of a sloth getting a shower and everything, and it was like lady, she hung it upside down to dry or whatever, and it just started. I'm like, that is so damn stupid. Why does it have to hang upside down? And then I watched a video of a sloth crossing the road, and it was literally moving slow. So, like, I read something. I don't know if it was true or not, but it said that sloth. It said that sloths have the ability to go faster. They just don't.
They have to conserve energy.
But no, like, that's just stupid to me. Like, I'm like, why are you in the middle of the road and you're moving that damn slow and you will not, like, and you have the ability to go faster and you don't? Like, that bothers me. I don't like it, and it bothers me. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the things they do, and they move too damn slow and they make weird noises.
So next week we'll discuss how Holly and Diamond hate kittens and puppies.
No, I love puppies now. No, I love dogs. I have 2 dogs, and they're God. You can ask Raheem about my dogs. My dogs are king and prince.
I think
we need to cut the podcast.
Yeah, I think on that note we're going to end for the night because this is going to get out of control, especially when Dom starts talking about her goddamn dogs. So I'd like to thank Diamond for being our guest today.
Thank you guys for having me.
It was great. It was a blast. I'm gonna have a hell of a time coming up with a title for this one. You're welcome back anytime. You probably will be invited back because, like Holly said, we got a women's podcast that I got to get together really soon, and of course you will be invited. Probably most likely be invited back. I don't see why not. And
Raheem is apparently going to be invited.
I will be there to watch. Like, I will open the show and then leave it to the women. Like, I do not want to get involved. I'm just going to watch. I know my place, hell.
You don't want these problems?
I don't want to catch these hands. Get slapped upside my head. Hell no, I'm good. But once again, thank you, Diamond. It was awesome. Catherine did not. She did not make it into the show. I'm going to kick her ass for it. But if you caught our last show, Catherine will be joining us more often. She will be one of our new part-time hosts that come in and talk shit with the rest of us. So look forward to more of her. But As always, this was a great show. I hope you all enjoyed listening to it. And signing out, there was Holly.
Okay, well, bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, this is the end, Holly.
Sorry.
JJ.
Holly and Diamond are wrong about pandas and sloths.
All right. God damn it. And Diamond.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
And, of course, this will be Rakeem signing out. You all have a good evening and a good rest of your week.